There are a wide variety of different insects that can be found throughout the world of Tyria. Some are random creatures you can find around the world, some are super cool bosses that you can fight, and some even have a massive impact on the gameplay for Guild Wars 2. To quickly answer some potential questions, spiders are not insects, they are arachnids and we will talk about them in the future. Worms are not insects, they don't have exoskeletons and we will talk about them in the future. Basically, we are taking from this official list of creatures that are classified as insects in-game. Let's get started. In the number 10 spot is the champion giant spotted beetle. I'm not 100% sure why, but whenever I first think of insects in Guild Wars 2, my brain goes straight to this one. This is a champion that spawns in the far silver waste and is a part of the Kill the Alpha Beetle event, where this is an event that only happens after a player kills the neutral giant beetle in the northwestern corner of this area, assuming the event hasn't been completed recently and other events in the area aren't up. Where the only real reason to do this event from Living World Season 2 is for an achievement that was added in Living World Season 4 that is related to a beetle we may or may not talk about in a bit. But many players may recognize this event if they have ever journeyed to the far silver wastes, especially for people who have done the Season 2 story, where the beetle itself is exactly as the name suggests. It's a champion, it's giant, it's spotted, and it's a beetle. Where I think it's a pretty cool looking bug and is a part of a fun event. In the number 9 spot is the Arctic bee. This is an insect that you can find in the Wayfarer foothills as a part of the Entertain and Protect the Children task, where these are a standard looking insect that you can find in Guild Wars 2, but doesn't look too much like a bee, but I'll allow it since they are cool looking and do look like they are from this area. These bees only appear as the children attempt to throw snowballs at you, but the snowball hits a beehive and angers the bees. I just have a ton of nostalgia with this area. I've completed this task many times, and I've killed these bees many times as a result of that. But I also have a ton of nostalgia from completing all the events in this area back when my mom used to play a lot, and spend a ton of time here just completing these events over and over. Where I love all three of these events, but I like the final event where the bears are rampaging around the beehives. In the number 8 spot are the Champion Wasp Queen and the Champion Wasp Soldier. These are two big wasps that appear at Warrior's Ground in the Fields of Ruin during the Kill the Giant Wasp and the Ebonheart Delegation event. Ultimately, this is a relatively random event without too much stuff going on, but there are just several aspects to these two wasps that come together to make them insects that I like a lot. First, this event takes place at a cool location that I have talked about a couple of times recently. Second, this event is just one that I have randomly done a lot since it is often up, and it's a pretty simple event to do while you're in the area that awards progress towards the task. Third, you do get the Royal Wasp Ichor, which is required to get the legendary pistol known as Hope. And fourth, I love the vibes of this being a Wasp Queen and a Wasp Soldier who appear together to attack the delegation. In the number 7 spots are the Charradis Fireflies, Flies, and Wasps. These are three bugs, alongside a variety of grubs, that are a part of the Help Charradis Estate Ranchers Attend to Cattle, where you can do a wide variety of things for this task, but a big part of it is catching these different bugs and grubs to feed to the cattle, where the big minigame here is that you are instructed to catch a certain bug and feed that bug to the specific cattle that like it. Where a bunch of people don't enjoy this part of the task, but I think it's fun enough for the short duration that you do it for this task. Where I just love the somewhat unique flavor with this task and how these bugs are incorporated into it. Where I also just like the looks of this area as a whole. It's a cattle ranch that has a bunch of bugs just hanging out in the pasture. You got specific bugs in specific areas of the pasture where they would make sense to be. In the number 6 spot are dragonflies. No, not the pistol skin dragonfly. Dragonflies are ambient creatures that were added with the End of Dragons expansion and can be found in all 5 of that expansion's maps, the Thousand Seas Pavilion, and was also added to Omnitus. Where ambient creatures are just various little critters that hang out in the world and don't really do too much except adding flavor to the world. And if you know anything about me, I love it when flavor is added. To look at the dragonfly themselves, they are definitely very pretty. I love the design of their model and all the various colors that you can find on them. Their wings in particular are gorgeous. And all in all, I just love how they look and I appreciate the flavor they add to the game. In the number 5 spot are the Beetle Feast Beetles, where Beetle Feast is a Heart of Thorns adventure located in Tangled Depths, where you get transformed into a beetle. The objective of this game is to reach yellow mushrooms while avoiding a few different obstacles along the way, where you gain access to special unique abilities that you have to use in order to reach all the mushrooms you need before the time runs out. Where overall, I think the game itself is really fun. It's kind of like an obstacle course with a few different things you need to pay attention to. But the highlight of it, in the context of this video, is how you are transformed into a beetle. I think this is a pretty fun concept for an adventure as it provides a somewhat unique style of gameplay while also just being something super interesting. It's not every day you're transformed into a beetle and have to do an obstacle course. And the beetle model itself is decent, nothing too spectacular, but the gameplay elements related to this beetle is definitely what sets it apart from other insects in Guild Wars 2. In the number 4 spot are the Caledon mosquitoes and fireflies. These insects are just super nostalgic for me as somebody who is a Safari player and as somebody who in my earliest days playing Guild Wars 2 spent a lot of time in Caledon Forest, where there is one event in mind when I talk about these insects, and that is the Clear the Mosquitoes that have been drawn to the Firefly Lamps event in the Verdance right next to the village of Astoria, where there's also the event to give Firefly Luminescence to Warden Anwin that is connected to this event. And I'll give a shout out to the honorable mentions to the 2 different termite events that take place at the Warden Light Tree, as well as the termite larvas at the task in the village of Astoria. So all in all, this entire area is fantastic for bug lovers. But like I mentioned, I just have so much nostalgia with these events, where I have done them many times in my Guild Wars 2 career, and they are pretty good events, especially for people playing the game for the first time, since they are relatively easy to understand and complete, while also being 2 different types of events. And then of course, these bugs themselves are pretty cool, even if basic. In the number 3 spot are the Plague Scarabs, where this is a gameplay element that I will talk about, but I care more about the fact that these are the most lore important insects in the entirety of the Guild Wars universe, where we have the major lore event of the Scarab Plague, where this deserves a long video in and of itself, but to give a quick summary, this is an uncontrollable disease that spread throughout Alona and basically decimated the population, where the main characteristic of this disease, and gore warning for people, is that victims of the plague would develop scarabs underneath their skin, and when the scarabs grew, they would burst from the skin, killing the victim, and then spreading the plague to others. And that's just awful. But this is a major lore event that we then see become a major part of Living World Season 4, where Paula Ojoko through the Inquest was attempting to bring back the Scarab Plague to decimate not only the entirety of Alona, but also the rest of Tyria as well, where a big part of the earlier episodes of Living World Season 4 have us interacting with these plague scarabs during the story, but also out in the open world and various events. And they are just a super memorable part of Guild Wars 2, and are, at least in my opinion, the most lore important insects in Guild Wars 2. In the number 2 spot is kind of an extension of the plague scarabs, and it is Petey as well as the roller beetle mount. In Living World Season 4, we have the Asuran entomologist Gorik, who played a pivotal role in the story, but a major part of his character during that story is how he identified that the Scarab Plague can only affect humans, and to prove this, he injected a beetle into his skin. And while everyone was disgusted, Gorik was right. However, the beetle did keep growing and growing, and once Petey was out of Gorik's skin, kept growing more and more, which this then transitions us into the roller beetle mount, where during Living World Season 4 Episode 3, we have a ton of different achievements that you can complete in order to unlock the roller beetle, and this is one of the most popular mounts in all of Guild Wars 2, where it is super fast and incredibly fun to use once you get a hang of things, where I, as well as many other players, absolutely love using this mount to traverse across the world, and I also love the variety of different roller beetle races you can participate in with it. The entire story concept and idea behind PD is really fun, but the fact that you have an entire mount in Guild Wars 2 that is an insect is really fun as well, where the mount does indeed look super cool, and does have some skins that make it less of an insect, but the core idea of it is a massive beetle that you can ride and roll around the world. But now for the number 1 spot, for my favorite insect in all of Guild Wars 2, and it has to go to the Queensdale Bees. This is just one of the most nostalgic parts of Guild Wars 2 for me, and are also just really cool. In the Clane Falls area of Queensdale, you can find a group of beekeepers alongside several beehives. In real life, I like bees a decent amount. They aren't my favorite insect, but I deeply appreciate the value they have for society and the world. But for whatever reason, I really love bees in video games. I think bee-related areas are just super cool, and I have fond memories of them from games like Skyrim, WildStar, and Terraria, where I always love coming across beehives in fantasy worlds and the different stories connected to them. And Guild Wars 2 is no exception, where these beehives in Queensdale are just another phenomenal detail to a fantastic map, and I love them a lot more than the beehives at Wayfarer Foothills, which I talked about earlier. But just the group of beehives here with all the little bees buzzing around are fantastic. But then you got a fun event that takes place here where a bunch of hungry bears will come out of the woods that will attempt to steal the honey from the beehives, where this feels like a very stereotypical event, which is fun in its own right, but there is also some fun narration. Upon completing the event, you can buy the jar of bees that will allow you to bring a group of bees around with you, and the jar of bees is important to purchase once in order to progress the Uncanny Cannery achievement. But on top of everything else I have said, this area is just super nostalgic for me. Not only is this one of the first events in the game I completed, this is one of the first events I ever even knew about, because before the original release of Guild Wars 2, I was a huge fan of the Yogscast, and I remember watching them participate in this event, and it is an aspect of Guild Wars 2 that drew my attention to the game. So that, combined with the fun intricacies to this area, and all the different bees buzzing around, these are my favorite insects in all of Guild Wars 2. And that's my list. I hope you enjoyed. There are a ton of fun insects in Guild Wars 2, and it was a lot of fun going through all of them and highlighting my favorites here. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching the loosely related but really not at all connected top 10 bugs in Guild Wars 2, or check out top 10 ambient creatures in Guild Wars 2, both of which are on your screen now. I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.